Previously, after ensuring Jin-Ho's safety, Jin-Woo turned his full attention to Thomas Andre and the rest of the Scavenger Guild. He then summoned his army of shadow soldiers, prepared to take on the entire guild. Seeing this, Thomas Andre got excited, saying, "This is great. There's finally a worthy opponent." While thinking to himself, "I couldn't care less about the Huangdongsu matter anymore. There's only one way to redeem my damaged pride, to kill that bastard." But he tells Jin-Woo, "It's not too late to admit your mistake and back off. I'll at least spare your life if you do so now and apologize." But instead of answering, Jin-Woo flips him off. Seeing this, Thomas gets even more furious and begins to transform, saying, "You'll regret not taking this last chance." As both sides prepare to fight, Jin-Woo signals his shadow soldiers to advance, and they all begin charging toward the hunters. Seeing this, Thomas also commands his men, "They're coming," and all of them rush to engage the shadows. The tanks take a defensive stance, using their skills to create a strong, magical wall, trying to hold back the assault. But their defense isn't enough. The soldiers break through. The moment they do, dozens of shadow soldiers are blown away, taken out single-handedly by Thomas Andre. As he looks up, he sees Tusk using his hymn of protection to block his advance. Without hesitation, Thomas leaps through the shield and smashes into Tusk's face. As he does so, he thinks, "My guild members don't stand a chance against these monsters," and charges inside the building where Jin-Woo is. Looking around, he sees that most of his members have already been defeated by the Shadow Army. Off to the side, he spots Jin-Woo, also fighting the hunters. Thomas leaps toward him, but before he can reach Jin-Woo, Iron blocks his path. Thomas punches Iron and yells at him to move. The force is immense and Iron is taken down in a single blow. But when he looks again, Jin-Woo has vanished. He wonders where he went, only to find him suddenly beside him. Before Thomas can react, Jin-Woo strikes with his dagger, but is shocked to see it has no effect. Thomas retaliates with a powerful punch, sending Jin-Woo flying, saying, "You look down on a national-level hunter." As Jin-Woo is still mid-air, Thomas uses psychokinesis to pull him back and declares, "Feel the difference in our strength and despair." But while being pulled in, Jin-Woo uses ruler's authority to hold Thomas in place. Thomas realizes he's trying to crush me. It's like I'm completely immobilized. Despite being drawn in, Jin-Woo attacks. Before Thomas can break free, Jin-Woo lands a powerful strike that makes Thomas cough up blood. He crashes to the ground but manages to stay upright, thinking, "I'm bleeding." Jin-Woo doesn't let up and charges again, saying, "What was it you said earlier? Feel the difference in our strength and despair." He unleashes a flurry of blows on Thomas, who is caught off guard. Finally, Thomas snaps, "I'll stop underestimating you," and activates his skill, Reinforcement, beginning to transform. Meanwhile, the Hunter Bureau agents are en route to the site. In the car, Agent Adam White is asked what's happening. He replies, "There's no time to explain everything in detail." Another man says, "You might not realize it as a civilian, but any closer and our lives will be in danger." Back at the factory, Thomas has completed his transformation. Jin-Woo recalls what Kamish once said, "4 humans received the ruler's powers. Perhaps they're the survivors of the Kamish raid. They must be the 4 national-level hunters." Thomas charges at Jin-Woo, who begins to move forward, but quickly stops as Thomas prepares to attack. Thomas smashes the ground with such force it shatters beneath him, but Jin-Woo narrowly evades. Thomas uses another skill, and panic spreads among the guild members, who yell, "Get away from him." He's created a black hole, pulling in everything around, including shadow soldiers. Jin-Woo watches and thinks, "What incredible strength. It's like a black hole. If not for ruler's authority, I would have been sucked in." Just then, a massive explosion occurs, destroying half the building. Jin-Woo survives. Looking down, he sees Thomas yelling, "I won't miss this time." As the remaining hunters evacuate with the wounded, Thomas launches toward Jin-Woo at lightning speed. But Jin-Woo steps on his face mid-air and launches off of him, knocking Thomas down. Thomas uses telekinesis again to pull Jin-Woo in, but Jin-Woo counters with ruler's authority, pulling Thomas toward him. Thomas thinks, "If he plans to take me head-on," and prepares, saying, "I'll take you on gladly." Their fists collide, creating shockwaves. To Thomas's shock, Jin-woo breaks through his armor and gives him a cold, disappointed look. Thomas is knocked into the ground. He gets up, screaming in rage, and throws a punch, but Jin-woo dodges it easily. Jin-woo delivers a knee to Thomas's face, shattering more of his armor. By this time, Hunter Bureau agents have arrived and are stunned by the level of destruction from the clash of these two monsters. The man told Adam White to stay back, as it was dangerous, and pointed ahead to something that had just been thrown down. White asked what it was, and the man told him it was Thomas Andre. They saw Thomas lying on the ground being beaten up by Jin-woo. Thomas thought, how can a mage-type hunter produce such power and speed? Gathering his strength, he said, I can't lose like this, and tried to counterattack, but Jin-woo was too fast. Jin-woo managed to block the strike and ripped the armor from Thomas's face. Furious, Thomas got back up and shouted, I am Thomas Andre. You think this is enough to take me down? But from behind, Jin-woo attacked again, saying, I told you, didn't I? It doesn't matter who you are. He began beating Thomas relentlessly once more. Agent White pleaded with Jin-woo to stop, but Jin-woo didn't listen and continued striking Thomas, breaking both his armor and bones in the process. Finally, Thomas accepted defeat and said, It's over. I lost. Jin-woo stopped after seeing his condition. White thought, to reduce the great Thomas Andre to such a state, how many hunters in the world could do such a thing? He wondered if there was even a single one. Once this news gets out, it will shake the world to its core. He then ordered the hunters on site to begin healing Thomas quickly. One of the hunters reported, every bone in his body has been broken. The blood loss is severe too. I won't be enough on my own. It'll be better if we all treat him together. They also noticed that despite the massive battle, no one had died. White thought, I guess this is as well as it could have gone. Then one of the agents alerted him to something. When they arrived at the spot, they found the lifeless body of Hunter Hwang Dong-soo on the ground, and Jin-woo was nowhere to be seen. Back in Korea, Jin-woo was sitting on top of a building. He had used Shadow Exchange to instantly return from America, switching places with Baru right after the battle with Thomas Andre. Another presence stood near him. Jin-woo looked at it and said, It's been a while since you've been in Korea, hasn't it? We then see Baru at the hospital, using his abilities to heal Jin-ho. Soon after, a shadow knelt before Jin-woo and asked to be given a name. It was the shadow of Hunter Hwang Dong-soo. Jin-woo looked at him and said, How about greed, since you died because of your greed? After naming him, Jin-woo ordered, Now lower your head to the ground. The next day, back in the United States, Jin-woo was on his way to the International Guild Conference. He asked Adam White why there were so many reporters outside, and Adam told him it was probably because the media had already caught wind of his fight with Thomas Andre. As Jin-woo entered the building, he thought to himself, I don't want to think about Hwang Dong-soo anymore. I came to America for one reason only. Once my questions are answered, I'll have no more business here. Jin-woo then entered the room where all the major guilds of the world were gathered. As he walked through the crowd, everyone turned their attention toward him. People whispered about how he had defeated Thomas Andre, nearly killing him, and they also discussed his crucial role during the Tokyo Gate crisis. After a short while, the presentation began. A scientist stepped up to the stage and introduced himself as Dr. Belzer. He began by stating, I'm sure you are all aware of the increasing number of gates appearing around the world. However, not many of you may know that there has also been unusual activity detected above the skies. He explained that magical energy in the atmosphere was becoming more concentrated. He then introduced a new term to describe it, the Magisphere. Displaying a map on the screen behind him, Dr. Belzer explained that this Magisphere was currently forming above several countries. Specifically, they had detected this phenomenon in 9 locations worldwide. Of all these places, the concentration of magical energy was highest above Seoul, South Korea. Upon hearing this, the crowd turned their attention toward Jin-woo, suspecting he might be behind the phenomenon. Dr. Belzer quickly reassured them, saying there was no reason to look at Jin-woo as if he were controlling the Magisphere. If he had that level of power, he'd already be beyond the realm of hunters. Meanwhile, Jin-woo silently wondered if the 9 locations might be related to the number of rulers and monarchs. The doctor concludes his report, stating, We do not yet know the cause, and there's nothing we can currently do to deal with it. However, he adds, just because we can't handle it now doesn't mean we shouldn't prepare. The world might be facing another great upheaval. Following the presentation, director David Brennan steps onto the stage and asks the doctor if the presentation is over. The doctor nods and David says, "I'll take it from here." He addresses the hunters gathered and begins solemnly, "It is with a heavy heart that I bring this news." He reveals that hunter Christopher Reed, one of the world's top national-level hunters, was assassinated 2 weeks ago by an unknown group. Shock spreads through the room. How could someone as strong as Christopher be killed? Who could possibly overpower him? Some hunters murmur about whether it was the man who fought Thomas Andre the day before. Sung Jin-woo remains expressionless amid the speculation. Director David then reveals that the Hunter Bureau has identified a possible suspect, codenamed Suspect S. A photo of the suspect appears on the screen. It's Jin-woo's father, Sung Il-hwan. Confusion and murmuring ripple through the room. One hunter makes an ignorant comment, saying, "All Asians look the same," but others clearly recognize the resemblance to Jin-woo. Jin-woo's mana flares slightly as he stares at the image, furious and conflicted. Dungeons are the territory of the rulers, he thinks. Why did they send a monster that looks like my father? Does this relate to what Kamish said? Director David elaborates. The man was found inside a gate in the U.S. He could speak fluent Korean, so they called in S-rank hunter Hwang Dong-soo, a Korean American, to interrogate him. However, during the questioning, the man turned violent, defeated Hwang, and reduced the Bureau's headquarters to ashes. The Bureau concluded that the man, a humanoid monster, might also be responsible for the assassination of Christopher Reed. As Jin-woo watches the footage, he sees his father warning Hwang, "Never set foot in Korea again." Greed confirms it. The man in the video is indeed Sung Il-hwan. Director David finishes by stating that the Hunter Bureau will request cooperation from guilds worldwide to capture Suspect S, and urges anyone who sees him to report it to the authorities immediately. Someone in the crowd asks if there's any proof that Suspect S is not human. David responds that the suspect's mana emission matches that of a magical beast. Another person asks whether the man claimed to be a human who went missing in a dungeon, and if that person actually existed. The director confirms that the suspect did make such a claim and that the hunter in question was real. When asked why his identity hasn't been revealed, Director David explains that the hunter is connected to someone present in the room, and that's why they chose to withhold the information. As David prepares to step down, another person raises their hand, Lu Zhigang, China's 7-star hunter. Lu argues that revealing Suspect S's identity would be helpful for the investigation and directly asks, "What is the monster's connection to Hunter Sung Jin-woo?" Reluctantly, Director David discloses the truth. During the interrogation, Suspect S claimed to be Jin-woo's father. Lu then turns to Jin-woo and asks, "If Suspect S truly turns out to be your missing father, and other hunters attempt to hunt him down, what will you do?" Jin-woo responds firmly, "It is only right for hunters to hunt monsters. If he is indeed a monster, I will take care of him myself. But if he's not a monster and truly my father, I will hunt down the hunters who go after him." He ends with a powerful declaration. "I will protect my family, even if it means making an enemy of every single hunter in the world." Sometime later, we see Adam White outside with Jin-woo. He asks, "Did you mean what you said back there?" Jin-woo answers, "Yes." Adam says, "To say something like that in front of 500 of the strongest hunters from over 120 countries, there's probably only one other hunter in the world who would dare say something like that." Jin-woo asks, "Who's the other person?" Adam replies, "He's in the hospital right now," referring to Thomas Andre. Adam then mentions that the Hunter Bureau has organized a feast and invites Jin-woo to join the other hunters. However, before Jin-woo can respond, he's approached by Lu Zhigang and several other hunters from China. Lu Zhigang says something in Chinese to Jin-woo, but Jin-woo doesn't understand, and Adam translates. Adam explains that Lu said he caught a giant monster on the coast, one that Jin-woo had previously let slip away. Liu goes on to explain that the battle was much tougher than expected, especially since it took place on the water. He adds that he's been eager to meet Jin-woo ever since, curious about the kind of hunter who can take down such strong monsters so easily. Liu Jigang then extends his hand. Watching this, Jin-woo thinks, "My first impression of him was that he's just a grumpy guy. Turns out he's a rather interesting person." As Liu Jigang leaves, Adam tells Jin-woo that Liu also said he hopes Suspect S isn't truly a member of Jin-woo's family. Adam reassures Jin-woo that Liu Jigang meant no harm by it, and Jin-woo replies, "It's all right." After that, director David Brennan arrives and asks Jin-woo if he has a moment to talk. Fast forward, we see Jin-woo sitting with Ms. Sellner. She greets him saying, "It's been a while, Hunter-sung Jin-woo." Jin-woo wonders, "Is the upgrader here? What does she want from me?" He responds, "I never thought you'd come to see me again." Ms. Sellner tells him, "I've been having the same dream every night recently, of top-ranked hunters being hunted down by someone." A few days later, these dreams begin to come true. Jin-woo asks, "Do you mean Christopher Reed?" Director David Brennan answers, "We warned Mr. Reed, but he wouldn't listen. And you know how that turned out." Ms. Sellner continues, "Powerful hunters who have been supporting our world will continue to die, and those hunting them will not stop." Jin-woo asks, "Are you here to warn me as well?" Ms. Sellner replies, "No. I'm here to ask you to protect the hunters. I've been trying to remember the faces of those being hunted in my dreams, but I couldn't. So I decided to try something else, to confirm their identities using my ability within the dreams. But once I came into contact with the endless power lying within them, I was forced to wake up," she says, trembling. "I still vividly remember the voice I heard when our eyes met." Jin-woo asks, "What did it say?" Ms. Sellner replies, "It told me to go back and prepare for war." Hearing that, Jin-woo thinks, "This is the battle between the rulers and the monarchs, the one the King of Giants spoke of." He wonders, which side is hunting the hunters? He then asks, "What does this have to do with you asking me to protect the hunters?" She answers, "I sensed a similar power within you." He realizes, she must have seen the power of the Shadow Monarch within me that day. Then director David Brennan tells Jin-woo, "These beings are in existence beyond hunters. We ask for your immense power to stop them. We weren't fully convinced when we were told you were the only one who could protect the others, but that changed after witnessing your battle with Hunter Thomas Andre yesterday." He adds, "We're willing to offer anything you want, even the greatest treasure Kamish left behind, the runestone. There are hunters in this world who have received powerful blessings, and they've protected the world using that power. If they fall, the world won't survive." Jin-woo responds, "I'm sorry, I can't do what you're asking." Director Brennan, surprised, asks, "Is this because you still hold a grudge against Hunter Thomas?" Jin-woo replies, "No, it's because I still don't know who I need to be fighting yet." After the conversation, Jin-woo stands up and begins to leave. As he walks away, Agent White reflects on what Jin-woo said in the conference room. "I will protect my family, even if I become the enemy of every hunter in the world." But then Jin-woo stops, turns to Agent White and says, "Could you give me the list of hunters you want me to protect? I'd appreciate the opportunity to meet them as well." Hearing that, White smiles and replies, "Of course." Fast forward, it's the last day of the International Guild Conference, the night of the hunters. We see Jin-woo alongside Jin-ho, who has fully recovered. Jin-woo asks how he's feeling, and Jin-ho replies, "Good as new." While they talk, people nearby whisper about Jin-woo, saying things like, "He's right in front of us, and yet I can't sense his presence at all. He's on a different level." Turning their attention to Jin-ho, they say, "That's the guy who fought Thomas Andre to save him." A man approaches Jin-woo, introducing himself as the CEO of a global corporation that specializes in handling monster remains. He says he wants to purchase all the giant monsters Jin-woo hunted in Japan and asks if Jin-woo has a moment. Jin-woo replies, "I mainly handle the raids. My vice chairman here takes care of business matters." He leaves Jin-ho with the CEO, thinking to himself, he's really a proper vice chairman now. As he's walking away, Agent Adam White arrives with a list of hunters who need protection, as Jin-woo had requested. He tells Jin-woo, We rank the hunters based on their contributions and activity. Jin-woo asks, "Where do I rank on this list?" White replies, "Taking into account the giants you defeated, probably third or fourth." Looking at the list, Jin-woo thinks, "This is such a drag. I should just place shadow soldiers on each of them, instead of memorizing their names." Realizing it's the perfect opportunity to mark each one with a shadow soldier, he can keep track of who's an ally, who's an enemy, and who he may need to fight. Possibly even use them to contact the rulers through these connections. While he's thinking, he senses something, and Hunter Wu also warns him to be cautious. Jin-woo reassures him, "You don't have to worry." It turns out to be Thomas Andre approaching. Thomas says he wanted to ask Jin-woo something. Showing his injured arm, he explains, "The magic damage was too severe. Even the healer's magic and the doctor's couldn't fully heal it. It's recovering slowly, but far from fully healed." He continues, "You could have wiped out my entire guild after defeating me, but even during all the chaos, not a single member died, except Huang, who caused the incident. Why did you let us live?" Jin-woo replies, "Because you didn't commit a sin that deserves death." Thomas begins walking away and says, "I plan to give Huang a proper funeral. He did commit a sin deserving death. But still, please allow him that dignity." Raising his hand, he adds, "Once my arm heals, I'd like to have a meal with you. If you give your contact info to my manager, I'll reach out later." Laura, Thomas's secretary, approaches Jin-woo and says, "My master just expressed his gratitude in the only way he knows how, by being rough. He's actually quite shy." She asks for Jin-woo's contact information, explaining that Thomas wants to send a gift of thanks and asks if there's anything he wants. Jin-woo thinks for a moment and answers, "Maybe a useful dagger." After she leaves, Agent White asks, "Shall we go greet the hunters on the list?" "I'll be your guide." Jin-woo declined when saying, "There's no need for you to do that." Then he notices something. "Is someone missing from this list?" "I don't see the rank 6 hunter," White responds. "We lost contact with him a few days before the conference. The secret agency and the Brazilian government still haven't found his whereabouts." Hearing that, Jin-woo wonders if the hunter has already been taken by the enemy. He thinks, that leaves 7 people on the list. The episode ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thanks again for your support, and I'll see you next time.